For the most part, my injuries have been few, which makes the answering of this question while injured even more funny. But the answer is C. It was a knee contusion that ended up happening. Very severe, very close. Concussion was definitely an injury I suffered. Everyone knows I broke my collarbone in the ring. Actually, those two things happened at the same time. But the knee contusion was the first one. I was wrestling at 3XW. This video is actually up at my Patreon. You can see it. It's on a web series called Injuries Suck, where I talk about it. But happened at 3XW. I just came down wrong on my leg, and it hyperextended. And I swear to God, I felt like I broke my leg. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't walk on it. I was shocked. It went from like I probably broke something to torn ACL to torn MCL. And at this time, I was going back home to my parents every single week. So it happens in Des Moines. They Vicodin me up. I get home. Thank you again to everybody, Can and Ryan, everyone who was there, putting up with me being all doped up on the way back to... I was in a lot of pain. But my mom came all the way down to the cities to pick me up and give me a ride back, and then they went and could get my car and bring that all the way back. And I was at my parents' place. I was in a straight brace for a long time, like a little straight brace. The deal was I needed it because if I fell asleep, my knee would go into, or my leg would break into... it would have a muscle spasm, and if it bent at all, it was incredibly painful. And I was in the middle of the night, and I forgot to put it on, and it kicked back, and I went, ugh, and I had to pull it, like straighten it out myself. And I was so tired, and the pain was so intense that I would fall back asleep, basically pass out from it, and it would do it again. So there was times where I had to make sure I fell asleep with it, otherwise that was my night. And I don't know how I didn't break anything. It's just kind of how the ridiculous stuff happened. But yeah, each week I was going back to the clinic there in Detroit Lakes and going up there, and they would do an MRI and they would do this. One thing that, I mean, currently dealing with this really irritates me too, but the dealing of like, just give me the answer. And finally, after a month or so, the answer was that if a 3 was a tear, I was at a 2++. And so that means that I strained my ACL, my MCL, and my PCL. And I said, why is it just a strain? I feel like I broke something, tore something. A strain? Why is it so hard to walk on anything? And the orthopedic looked at me and he goes, have you ever sprained your ankle? And I said, yeah. And he goes, did you want to walk on that? And I said, no. And he goes, imagine straining 3 of your major ligaments in your leg. So that was my first major injury. I missed 2 months. Took me a while to get back in the swing of things after it, but it wasn't until a Heavy On Wrestling event that I felt like I was actually back ready to go. Everything else kind of felt a little off. But yeah, answer is C, knee contusion.